America, a country with a variety of people, places, and creeds. This November, we all witnessed America express its beliefs, and many of us were surprised. Liberals everywhere were genuinely shocked when Donald Trump, a non-traditional conservative candidate, won the election. Trump was an outsider with little formal political experience, a poor relationship with the media, and a politically incorrect vocabulary. He was predicted to lose to his Democratic opposition, former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, from the start, which is perhaps why this victory was so earth-shattering. But the votes were counted, and Donald Trump is the 45th President of the United States. This brings up the question, how did Trump appeal to voters all across the country, of all demographics, and come out with a victory? But more importantly, what did his election reveal about America? In order to understand this, we have to first understand the campaign that Trump ran and the type of candidate that Trump was.
From the beginning, Trump was clearly not a standard run-of-the-mill politician. To many, this was a deterrent because they had fear that he would be inept in a position that takes many qualified people years to master. However, Trump was able to use this in his favor. He played on the idea that because he was not from Washington, he is more honest because he has no need to satisfy the Washington insiders. The term Washington in this context is used to represent the idea that many politicians working in D.C. work together under the radar to get one another ahead in a corrupt and secret fashion. Trump criticized the way that other politicians would treat Americans, lying to protect their own political status. This outsider appeal seemed to work out favorably for Trump over the course of his campaign. This was significantly different than insider traditional candidates who the people had been used to seeing in elections.
He is known for his crazy comments and untamed vocabulary. He often offends people, specifically the media and liberals, but he is not going to change the way he speaks for anyone. His agenda is that he says what he thinks, and that he's transparent. In order for him to be as transparent as he claims, he sacrifices political correctness. But to his supporters, this is a sacrifice they are willing to make to have a genuine political leader. Few politicians before Trump have dared to venture beyond the implied boundaries of political correctness and remain successful and popular.
Most of the members of the media didn't like or support Trump. The media tended to have liberal bias, so very few outlets supported his often politically incorrect campaign. Because of the poor relationship that the campaign had with the media, news sources often reported against Trump and predicted against his victories in the primary and general election. Trump also played the media into helping his cause. He often said outlandish statements and created a lot of buzz surrounding nearly everything he did. Local and national news covered this and therefore did not cover his opponents. Trump used the media to make his name be heard constantly, nationwide, and significantly more than any of his opponents. He made sure that everybody knew his name, and eventually they would likely forget about the scandal or comment that caused his name to be brought up. Even with this, Trump berated the media in virtually every rally speech he made. Trump's opposition of the media was a different approach than many other candidates had taken in the past, as few others had challenged the media as head-on. The people noted this change of style, and it clearly had a significant effect on the end result of the campaign.
Before winning the presidency, Trump was the CEO of his company, the Trump Organization. He used this ethos to back up his economic policies, which weren't purely focused on the conservative base. He supported the reduction of government spending in order to reduce federal debt, which is traditional for conservatives. However, Trump also aimed his tax and trade reforms to support the working class. He advertised these changes as reforms that would work to purely benefit the working class and rally the demographic well. Trump's method to tackling tax reform was to replace Obama's tax code. Briefly, his plan during the campaign was to replace the 7 income tax brackets with 3 new ones, cut the corporate tax rate by more than 50%, get rid of the alternative minimum tax and estate tax, and create new incentives to simplify filing returns. One noticeable aspect of these trade reforms significantly involved China, a country with a large amount of factories and blue-collar jobs. Trump promised to make changes to our country's trade policy with China and to get the jobs that China stole back to Americans. All of these policy changes were advertised as putting America first, or disregarding former policies that may give other countries an economic advantage over the U.S. His goal was to amend the American economy, and this meant much change to standing domestic and international policies.
Trump's most striking point was that he had a plan to build a more secure border between the U.S. and Mexico. He wanted to build an 18-foot high wall, taller if possible. His ideology is that Mexican immigrants are dangerous and cause problems in America. In the book How Trump Won, the authors Joel Pollack, a Breitbart News senior editor-at-large, and Larry Schweikart, a New York Times best-selling author, described Trump meeting with people who have been attacked by illegal immigrants and the family members of people who have been killed by illegal immigrants. These real situations help to give credibility to his statements arguments about the danger of illegal immigrants and convince voters of the legitimacy behind his strict immigration crackdown. In addition to America being safer, Trump has cited that immigrants steal jobs away from the hard American workers. Trump's philosophy is that restricting immigrants' access to our country would give more opportunities to American workers.
When the votes were counted and the results were reached, Donald Trump was declared president. It may have seemed surprising at the time, but the truth is, Trump ran a stellar and appealing campaign that defied the predictions of many political scientists. While the Democratic base may have not seen the result coming, the Trump campaign appealed to many different demographics and advertised Trump and his policies to the correct variety of groups. He exposed the parts of America that wanted a change from the current system in place. No more insider politics, bias in the media, or politically correct vocab getting in the way of progress, and a change to our country's tax, trade, and immigration policies. The grand takeaway from this election was that America wanted change.